Group by and having clauses. In this lesson, we are going to discuss the group by clause and the having clause. First, let's get to know what a grouping query is. A query containing a group by clause is a grouping query, and group by is an optional clause in a query. We can also use aggregate functions in the group by clause. Generally, in a select statement, a group by clause follows the where clause or the from clause, if the where clause is missing. Here is the general format. In this format, column 1 and column 2 are the grouping columns. They must be the names of columns from tables in the from clause. In aggregate function, we can give any aggregate functions like sum, count, max, min, etc. Group by operates on the rows from the from clause as filtered by the where clause. Now we will discuss how the group by clause works. Group by clause collects the rows into groups based on common values in the grouping columns. Except nulls, rows with the same set of values for the grouping columns are placed in the same group. Type the statement in SQL prompt like this and execute it. This statement displays the department number and the total amount of salary for that corresponding department. Here, every department is grouped according to department number, so we have used the department number column for grouping. Now we are going to discuss the having clause. This clause is also associated with grouping and aggregate functions. It's also an optional one in the select statement. In grouping queries, the having clause follows the group by clause. In aggregate queries, the having clause follows the where clause or the from clause if the where clause is missing. The having clause has the following general format. Having predicate. In this general format, predicate is a logical expression referring to grouped columns. If the having predicate evaluates to true for a grouped or aggregate row, the row is included in the query result. Otherwise, the row is not included in the query result. Let's see this statement. Select dept no count asterisk ename from emp group by dept no having count asterisk greater than 1. Let's execute it. This statement displays the department number and the total number of employees in each department where the number of employees is greater than 1. Here we have used the group by and having clause in our statement. We can find the order of writing a having clause in a select statement. Here we have written this clause as the last clause. In this statement, a group by clause will group up the rows according to the column department number, and finally the grouped columns are checked in the having clause to check the count. I hope you understand the uses of having and group by clauses from this lesson. Now I want my learners to write some more queries using these clauses to understand them completely.